They call themselves your friends. They smile at your success, nod at your dreams, even offer advice when you struggle. But underneath their support is a quiet calculation. Their presence feels warm, but something always feels slightly off, like a shadow moving just out of frame. These are not friends. These are liabilities wrapped in charm. And Machiavelli, the architect of ruthless insight, would have spotted them instantly, not by what they said, but by what they concealed. Because in the world of strategy, proximity is not proof of loyalty. It is often the perfect disguise for betrayal. Machiavelli did not trust easily. He believed that power attracts parasites, and that most friendships are formed not from alignment, but advantage. People do not gather around you because of who you are. They gather because of what you represent. A chance, a shield, a spotlight. And the moment that benefit fades, so does the bond. What remains is not loyalty. It's leverage. And if you don't cut these people off, you won't be betrayed by strangers. You'll be destroyed by those you once shared laughter with. The most dangerous enemy is not the one in front of you. It's the one sitting beside you, smiling, listening, waiting. You think you have time. You think that as long as you're kind, generous, or forgiving, things will work themselves out. But this is not a story about kindness. It's a war for your future. And every moment you allow the wrong friend to stay close, you sharpen the knife they will one day use against you. Machiavelli understood this better than most. He warned that power isn't lost in a single catastrophic blow. It's drained slowly, quietly, by the people you trust the most. By the ones who take more than they give, who weaken your edge in the name of friendship, who convince you that loyalty means tolerance. But the stakes are far higher than hurt feelings. If you don't identify and eliminate these 5 types of people, your empire will rot from the inside. Your focus will blur. Your ambition will dilute. And the very people you thought were lifting you up will be the same ones anchoring you in place. They won't stab you in the back. That would take courage. No, they'll drain you while pretending to support you. And by the time you notice, you'll have wasted years explaining yourself to people who never had the capacity to understand you in the first place. This isn't about cruelty. This is about clarity. Because the longer you keep them close, the more you trade your potential for their comfort. And in Machiavelli's world, that's not just weakness. That's suicide. 1. The mirror friend. They reflect you so perfectly, it feels like kinship. They like what you like. They quote your beliefs. They echo your opinions with just enough variation to make it feel like they're thinking for themselves. They are always in agreement, always supportive, always present, but never quite original. You begin to trust them because it feels like you're being understood. But what you're really being is studied. The mirror friend doesn't have an identity. They borrow yours. Machiavelli warned about men who adapt too easily, those who shift their behavior to fit whatever pleases the powerful. He would see the mirror friend for what they are, an opportunist in disguise. Their loyalty isn't real, it's rented. They mimic your values not because they share them, but because it gives them access. And when your values stop serving them, they will adopt a new mask, one that fits their next host. These people are dangerous because they don't betray you with conflict. They betray you with compliance. They nod through your pain, agree through your breakthroughs, applaud your progress, until it threatens to eclipse theirs. Then they quietly change shape. They bond with your enemies. They twist your words in rooms you're not in. And when the damage is done, they claim innocence. I was just trying to understand both sides. Machiavelli would never trust someone who is too agreeable, too adaptive. Because he knew that when someone has no spine of their own, they will bend whichever way power tilts. Today they mirror you. Tomorrow they mirror your downfall. You don't need reflection. You need resistance. Someone who sharpens you with truth, not someone who blunts you with performance. 2. The apology addict. They are always sorry. Sorry they forgot. Sorry they hurt you. Sorry they crossed a line. And again. And again. Their words drip with remorse, but nothing ever changes. Because for the apology addict, apologies aren't a path to growth. They are a tool for control. Each one resets the clock. Each one buys them more time, more access, more forgiveness. And while you're stuck in a cycle of confrontation and reconciliation, they're walking away with something far more valuable than your trust. Your time, your energy, your peace. Machiavelli would call this tactic what it truly is, emotional warfare disguised as humility. He understood that guilt is one of the most effective levers of power. A sincere apology, used once, can heal. But repeated apologies, unaccompanied by action, are not apologies at all. They are manipulation. They are currency in the hands of someone who has learned that your standards can be bent by emotion. The apology addict thrives in your grace. They count on your kindness. They know you don't want to seem harsh, or unforgiving, or petty. So they take one step too far, say sorry, and return the next day with a different excuse, but the same behavior. It's not forgetfulness. It's a strategy. A rehearsed script that keeps you emotionally entangled while they continue to sabotage your boundaries. Machiavelli would advise you to judge people not by their intentions, but by their results. And if someone's pattern is consistent disrespect followed by polished remorse, what you're looking at isn't a flawed friend. It's a master manipulator wearing guilt like armor. The truth is, they aren't sorry. They're just afraid of losing access. And every time you accept their apology, you teach them one thing, that the door to you only needs words to open, not change. 3. The storyteller. They never attack you directly. They tell stories. Little ones. Subtle ones. They mention what someone else said about you, how some people think you've changed, how others are concerned you're getting arrogant. They deliver these words with concern, with a sigh, with that look of, I'm just being honest with you. But they are not being honest. They are seeding doubt. Machiavelli would call them what they are, agents of distortion. Their loyalty is to the narrative, not to you. And that narrative always positions them at the center of interpretation. They don't spread lies, they spread implications. Just enough truth to stay credible, just enough distortion to cause damage. They poison reputations with suggestion, not accusation. They pose as informants, but they are actually architects of division. The storyteller thrives on being the middleman, the one who knows things, who hears things, who warns you. But the truth is, they are creating a performance. One where they remain blameless, while others around you begin to feel suspect. You start questioning your circle, your allies, even yourself. And while you search for the source of the tension, it was sitting beside you all along, pretending to protect you. Machiavelli warned that the most dangerous enemies are not those who oppose you, but those who subtly shape how others perceive you. These people understand the power of perception. They know that reputations are not destroyed with swords, but with whispers. You must be ruthless with the storyteller, because they will never strike. They'll never scream. They'll just keep talking, smiling, sharing. And by the time you realize it, the room will already see you differently. Not because of what you said, but because of what they implied. A king who does not control the narrative becomes a prisoner of someone else's version of it. And Machiavelli would tell you, better to be feared for silence than destroyed by someone else's storytelling. The drifter. They come and go. Vanish when you're building, reappear when you've won. You won't hear from them while you're grinding through your darkest seasons. But the moment the light returns, the moment you're rising, achieving, growing, they resurface. Smiling. Casual. As if nothing ever happened. Just been busy, they say. Been thinking about you, they claim. But Machiavelli would not mistake absence for innocence. He would call it exactly what it is, opportunism cloaked in convenience. The drifter is not loyal to you. They are loyal to momentum. They track your progress like investors eyeing a stock. If you're rising, they show up. If you're struggling, they scatter. They aren't interested in your journey, only your destination. And when you get there, they want to be close enough to benefit but distant enough to claim no responsibility for your climb. They are the worst kind of ghost, the kind that only haunts when it's useful. Machiavelli understood the political version of this friend well. Courtiers, nobles, followers, they were all loyal in proximity but vanished in uncertainty. He knew that true allegiance is proven in drought, not harvest. And anyone who disappears when you're silent but reappears when you're loud is not a friend. They're a spectator. and spectators always have one foot out the door. The drifter is dangerous because they don't do damage through sabotage. They do damage through absence. When you needed encouragement, they were gone. When you doubted yourself, they were unreachable. But now that your name carries weight, they want to be associated. They post, they tag, they drop your name in conversations, but they were never there when it cost them anything. Machiavelli would advise, beware the one who re-enters only when it's easy. Because when the storm returns, they won't. And if you allow them close again, you're not being loyal. You're being used. 5. The equalizer. They smile when you struggle. Not because they hate you, but because your failure reassures them. Your shine makes them uneasy, your ambition unsettles their comfort, and your success feels like a mirror they can't look into. So they find subtle ways to pull you back down to their level. Not with open resistance, but with small, calculated nudges. Don't overthink it. Take it easy. You're being too intense. To Machiavelli, this person is not a friend. This is a strategic suppressant, a well-dressed weight, placed gently on your shoulders to keep you from flying too far. They are threatened not by who you are, but by who you're becoming. And because they cannot evolve with you, they try to preserve the version of you that made them comfortable. The equalizer operates in half praise and half pressure. They'll support you, but only so far. The moment your success exceeds their emotional threshold, they become uncomfortable. You'll notice it in their body language, in their silence after your wins, in their backhanded compliments disguised as advice. They don't want to destroy you, they just want to slow you down enough so they don't have to speed up. And Machiavelli knew exactly how dangerous that was. He wrote that the man who urges moderation in moments of greatness is rarely motivated by your well-being. He's motivated by fear. Fear that your rise will expose his stagnation. Fear that your clarity will reflect his confusion. Fear that your victory will render him irrelevant. This friend doesn't push you to be better. They push you to stay the same. Because sameness is safe. Because if you keep evolving, the bond dies. Not from betrayal, but from growth. And that's the truth Machiavelli would whisper through the centuries. If someone only supports you when you're manageable, they don't support you. They tolerate you. And no throne is built by being tolerated. These 5 aren't accidents. They are symptoms. Proof that when you begin to rise, when your focus sharpens, when your edge becomes visible, the world around you doesn't stay still. People shift. Some in admiration. Others in fear. And those who fear your evolution will never say it aloud. They'll smile. They'll joke. They'll act familiar. But behind every friendly gesture is a quiet mission. To keep you exactly where they feel safe seeing you. Machiavelli would tell you this plainly. Most people don't want you to fail. They just don't want you to win too much. The mirror friend will flatter you while studying how to dull your brilliance. The apology addict will drip guilt into every boundary you try to build. The storyteller will rewrite your image in other people's minds one whisper at a time. The drifter will abandon you in silence and return only when it serves them. And the equalizer will mask their envy with fake concern, pulling you back down every time you try to rise. They don't use swords. They use smiles. They don't fight you. They slow you. And that's the real cost, not destruction, but dilution. Your ideas become softer. Your goals shrink to avoid judgment. Your instincts are second-guessed. Your ambition is filtered. And in the name of keeping the peace, you lose the war. And that's how power dies, not in fire, but in fog. These friends are not the cause of your downfall. You are. Because you allowed them in. Because you made excuses. Because you confused history with harmony. Because you let guilt speak louder than instinct. Machiavelli warned of this exact mistake. He saw alliances not as sentimental bonds, but as strategic risks. And any risk that no longer serves the mission must be eliminated. Not argued with. Not warned. Eliminated. This is where most people fail. They want transformation without friction. Clarity without sacrifice. Power without solitude. But you can't have both. You can't build an empire and babysit egos at the same time. You must choose their comfort or your future. So now the question is not whether these people exist in your life. The question is, why are they still there? Machiavelli wouldn't ask for justification. He wouldn't care how long you've known them, how much they've been through with you, or how complicated the history is. He would ask one thing and one thing only: are they helping you rise? Or are they making sure you don't rise too far? And if the answer is the latter, then your delay is your downfall. You don't need to explain. You don't need to confront. You don't need to give them closure. Because closure is often just an invitation for manipulation. What you need is distance. Absolute. Let your absence speak what your words never could. They'll call you heartless, arrogant, selfish. Let them. Because those accusations are not indictments. They are evidence. They reveal what they were really afraid of all along: that you'd wake up, that you'd stop playing small, that you'd stop bending to their emotions, their doubts, their fragile egos, that you'd stop shrinking just to make them feel tall. And now you have. Machiavelli believed in silence over speeches, in withdrawal over debate, in clarity over comfort. You do not owe anyone access to the future version of you, especially not those who feel entitled to it simply because they survived your past. Audit your circle. Remove the mirror, the apology addict, the storyteller, the drifter, the equalizer. Not because you hate them, but because you love your vision more. Because every second spent explaining your intensity is a second stolen from your empire. Every moment spent managing someone's insecurities is a brick missing from your foundation. And every time you ignore that gut feeling, the tension, the hesitation, the quiet warning, you betray your future for the illusion of peace. But peace bought with self-betrayal is just war delayed. So be cold, not in heart, but in judgment. Be silent. Not out of weakness, but out of strategy. Be selective, not to punish, but to protect. The world will tell you to be kind. Machiavelli would tell you to be precise. Because greatness is not built on sentiment. It is built on discipline, on subtraction, on the quiet removal of every presence that blurs your edge. You don't rise by surrounding yourself with many. You rise by walking with the right few and cutting the rest without flinching. That's not cruelty. That's clarity. And clarity is power.